Hello, my name is Nathan Taylor, also known as Sockmatician, and welcome to this series of special video tutorials filmed to accompany my book, Guys Knit. This video relates to the tutorial found on page 161 and shows you how to do the Kitchener stitch, which is a way of grafting together two sets of live stitches, such as when you're closing the toe on the end of a sock.
Kitchener stitch, or the Kitchener graft, is a way of closing together two sets of live stitches and literally grafting them together so you get an unbroken knitted fabric that runs from one piece of fabric to the other, and you'd never know there was a join there in the first place. It's perfect for grafting together the front and back, or top and bottom sides of a toe. Let's pretend that this is a toe of a sock. The sock would come off this way, and I'm getting towards the end now, and I just want to join the top half of my sock to the bottom half of my sock. And the best way to do that is Kitchener. It doesn't leave a discernible seam at all, which means you can't feel it. It just looks like the fabric from the top rolls around from one side to the other. Once you've completed the knitting, you're going to need to break your yarn tail. Usually you'd leave a 6-inch tail for weaving in, but with Kitchener stitch you're going to need a little bit more than that. A good judge of how much of a tail to leave is thinking maybe 4 or 5 times the width that you want the graft to be. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and a bit more for luck. Well, I've got a little bit more than that, but that's absolutely fine for the purposes of this video. So having the yarn over the back there, you want to start off with both of your needles, the working tips pointing towards the right and holding them in your left hand. The next thing you want to do is thread that tail of yarn onto your tapestry needle, like so. Before you get into the graft proper, there are 2 little setup manoeuvres that one needs to do, and then you can carry on to the graft. It's very, very simple. We've got a front needle and a back needle, and then we've got stitches that we can go into the first stitch, the second stitch, third, first, second, third, and so on. We're only really going to be working with the first stitch each time. Set up step number 1 then. Go into the first stitch on the front needle as if to purl and pull the yarn through. Make sure that it doesn't tangle around the needle tips. It will want to at any given opportunity. That's step 1 of the setup. Step 2 is to take the tapestry needle through into the first stitch on the back needle, so you want to go underneath that first needle there and go in as if to knit through, and again pull through. That's your setup done. So just to recap, the first stitch on the front needle you go in purlwise and pull through, first stitch on the back needle go in knitwise and pull through. Now into the graft proper. We go into the first stitch on the front needle as if to knit, and instead of pulling through, slide that stitch or slip it onto the tapestry needle. Then go into the second stitch as if to purl, and then you can pull through. Don't worry, I'll show you that again next time we come to it. The second half of this Kitchener graft, we go into the first stitch on the back needle as if to purl and slip it onto the tapestry needle. Then we go into the next stitch, again on the back needle, as if to knit, and then we can pull through. It's a good idea between both halves of the graft to give everything a nice little snug tug. You don't want to pull it too tight. The ideal is to have your new layer of stitches the same sort of tension as your knitting tension there. What we're doing is we're creating a brand new row of stitches between these 2 sets here. And let's show you that graft one more time. In on the first stitch as if to knit on the front needle and slip onto the tapestry needle. Turn it round and go through the second stitch as if to purl. And pull nice and snug. There we are. And then take it round to the back. Go into the first stitch on the back needle as if to purl and slip it off. And then into the next stitch on the back needle as if to knit and pull through. See how that wanted to curl over that needle there? Do not allow it to do so. Everything nice little tug, keep it nice and snug. One more time. Knit, slip, purl, and pull through. On the back, purl, slip onto the needle, purl, slip and knit, and pull through. And you keep doing this all the way along the row. Can you see how the end of my toe is now freeing itself from the needle? That's because we're working through, grafting everything and releasing the stitches as we go. My little mantra is knit, slip and purl. And then purl, slip and knit. When I say slip, it's because I'm slipping that stitch onto the tapestry needle rather than leaving it where it is. One more time then. Knit, slip and purl. And then on the back, purl, slip and knit. And that means go in as if to purl, go in as if to knit each time. We're nearly there now, and I can show you the last couple of manoeuvres. 2 more times for the full set then. Knit, slip, purl. Purl, slip and knit. I'm down to 2 pairs of stitches now. You always have to make sure with the Kitchener graft that you do in fact have equal numbers of stitches on the front and back needles, because we are working them together, grafting them as pairs. Last full pair then, knit, slip and purl. Oops, here we go, knit, slip and purl. And then finally, purl, slip and knit. And we are left with just 1 stitch on the front needle and 1 stitch on the back. Now we can't do the full set, so we kind of want to do a version of the little setup that we did at the beginning. We just do knit, go into the first stitch as if to knit, slip it off completely. That needle will pop free. And then go into the back stitch as if to purl. So into the front one as if to knit, into the back one as if to purl, and slip them both onto the needle, tapestry needle that is, and pull through. Now that leaves you with a bit of a pokey outy point there, so what I do at that point is I just take it into the hole below where it's come out of and pass it through to the inside of the sock, giving that a little tug, and it disappears inside, pretty much invisibly. So what that's done is it's grafted the 2 ends of our sock, the 2 halves, front and back, together. And if I show you the structure of that, it very much looks like our knitted fabric has continued from one side to the other. Don't worry if it's a bit tighter or a little bit looser. You'll get better at judging what that feels like as you go along, but I think you'll agree that that's a very neat and tidy way to close a toe of a sock. And that is the Kitchener graft.